Made your educated. Now that you've made your I can't say it this morning. Now that you've made an educated decision. Hey everyone, Fish Shop Matt here. Loads and loads of you have asked for a series on plants as well as fish. So here's episode 1, the Phantom Menace. I mean, not the Phantom Menace. Stem plants. Let's go. So stem plants, as you can see behind me, come in a wide variety of colours, shapes, sizes, leaf shapes. There's a real varied variety of them. The majority of them are some of the fastest growing species of plant that you can put in your aquarium, and they're really good for sort of absorbing those nutrients and those fish wastes that you get in the aquarium. With stem plants, you can tell them apart really easily from the majority of other types of aquarium plant. They have a central stem growing up through the middle, with then leaves coming off of that central stem. The majority of aquarium stem plants are easy to grow. There are a few that are trickier, so it's well worth doing your research, which we'll go into in a minute. A simplified rule is if it's got red or pink in it, so I don't know if you can see, but this chappy here and this guy here, those ones are a little bit trickier to grow. The red coloration in them does mean they are a little bit harder to get to flourish in an aquarium. As a beginner, I'd recommend starting off with some of the greener, faster growing plants, and then if you get used to that, and when you get used to that, I'm not saying if, because this video will help you get used to that. When you get used to that, what you can then do is move up to some of the trickier species at a later date and replant with some of the reds or the pinks into your aquarium and have a go at keeping some of the trickier species. So when picking out stem plants, there are two things that are going to be helping you out. One, your local resident plant geek in your fish store. Luckily in here we have 4 or 5 of us that are all really into planted aquariums and sort of aquascaping to an extent. So we can talk customers through which ones are going to best suit their aquarium. But if you haven't got a local plant geek that wants to help you out, Google is going to be your friend. There is so much information, and now what with smartphones, you can get all the information at your fingertips while you're sat there in the fish store. So once you've had a look through the plants, you can pick out a few and quickly Google them to check which ones are going to suit your needs in your aquarium. Whether you want it taller, shorter, fast growing, you've got high lighting, you've got low lighting, you'll be able to find a stem plant that should match your aquarium. Now, you can either do that, or you can do what I do. Find a pretty one and go, I'll give that a go, let's try it. Some you win, some you lose, but most of the time, I get away with it. So once you've made your educated decision on which plants you're going to be taking home, the next step is really getting them home and planting them, I suppose. So let's show you how to do that. So now that you've made your educated decision on what plants you wanted to take home, now's the time to get them ready and get them prepped for planting. So generally, as a rule, in each pot you will get several stems of plant. Now what we'll do is we'll get rid of these two just for a second, and we'll focus on one. Now to get this one out of the pot, what you're going to do is give the pot a little quick squeeze, probably over a bucket because that's quite damp, but give the plant a quick squeeze and then just gently pull the plant out of its basket. Once you've done that, it's just a simple case of gently removing all of this rock wool so that your plants are free from their temporary home. So all we're going to do is we're going to gently pull this apart and try and work out where the stems are to. So there you go. So we gently pull these out. Now it doesn't matter at this point generally if you damage a few roots, because it's not really going to hurt. So there you go, that's an individual plant. That is one stem. So then you'll repeat this process for all of these other ones in this pot. Now you can see we are left with lots of individual stems of each plant. Now sometimes it might be worth giving these a quick rinse off. As you can see, some of the lower leaves will inevitably die off, and it would be worth giving them a rinse just to check there's no snails or pests that are going to hitchhike their way into your aquarium. So now that all your aquarium plants are stripped out of the rock wool and you've got each individual stem ready to go, we're going to go and plant them. Now, normally what you would do at this point is plant them in the back of your aquarium. What I'm actually going to do for you guys is plant them just in the front of this planted tank for the minute until a little bit later, so that you get an idea of how to do it really close up. If I'm trying to plant behind rockwork, you might not see it as easily. Now with stem plants, as a rule, tweezers are the easiest way to plant your aquarium. It's a very easy thing to be able to pop them in, release the tweezers, give it a little wiggle so that the roots get settled, and then you can release. So let's get on with the planting and show you how we do it. So what I'm going to be doing with the planting is I'm going to be grabbing hold the bottom of the stem with my tweezers like so. And then, once the camera refocuses, you're just going to be taking it in, giving it a little wiggle, and then planting it in the aquarium like so. And then you will repeat that for every other stem that you have. Now you give them a little bit of room in between them, just so that they've got space to grow, and they've got space for these new shoots that you can see coming off the sides here to bush out and fill in the space. If you pack them too tightly, generally the lower leaves will start dying off, and you'll get what I affectionately call palm trees, and you end up with none of these leaves at the bottom growing, and only the ones at the top growing, because all that happens is they get all the light at the top and none at the bottom if you pack them too tightly. Now once you've finished planting your pot, you'll have something that looks a little bit like this. Now at the moment these guys haven't stretched up to reach for the light, so they're all a little bit sort of over and a little bit not settled in yet. But once they settle, all these stems will go straight up and will be really nice and tall. And like I said earlier, when you look down here, I don't know if it's going to focus properly. No, maybe not. But each one of these leaf nodes here has got a new shoot coming off of it. So once those new shoots start coming out as well, that is all going to fill in really, really nicely. A little bit like this. So this is the exact, oh actually it's not, I tell a lie. This is a very similar species to the one that we were just planting in the tank over there. And we planted it in exactly the same way. You probably saw it on MD's video, but each sort of stem went in the back here, poked in on its own, and then it's grown up from there. Now this got cut only last week and was like sort of down at this level when we cut it. Now you can see in a week how much, and it's almost nearly hitting the surface again. So let's give this one a trim back and show you how we would trim back these stem plants. Now most stem plants will need cutting back fairly regularly to maintain that bushy growth. Otherwise what you'll get, like I said earlier, is all these leaves at the top that are getting bigger will shade all these leaves down the bottom, and you'll just end up with a mass of leaves at the top and nothing going down through. So what we're going to do when we're trimming them is we're going to select an area just above some leaves, or possibly just above a new shoot that we're going to trim. So when we look at it, if we look at this one here, we want to trim this one where we want it to reshoot, which in all honesty is going to be probably back down here somewhere. You can probably see in the picture there's a little new shoot, well you might not be able to, but there's a little new shoot here and another new shoot there, another new shoot there, and so that whole stem is trying to push out new life, essentially, new bits of the stem plant. So if we trim him back, it should end up as a bit of a bushier plant. So here you see we're going to take our trusty long-handled scissors, and I'm just going to take that stem off right down the bottom there. That leaves that new shoot to come through, and leaves that one to do something with at a later date, or I say date, in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this one as well. I'm not going to go too mad on this because I want this tank to stay quite well sort of planted, so I'm only going to take these top shoots off. In some aquariums you might want to go further down so that then you're getting them to reshoot lower down, but in this one I want to try and maintain that sort of planted height behind here. And you can already see, just by taking those two out, now I've got this nice sort of bunch of plant back here, and it's not hanging over all the other plants, which is ideal really. So now I have 3 fresh new cuttings. Now I'm not sure you'll pick it up, but these have actually got roots already growing on them. I don't know if that's actually focusing on them, There we go. Yeah, so they've got roots already starting to grow on them. So you can either discard these and get rid of them, or you can replant them into the main group in the back there, which you would do with the tweezers like I showed earlier. At this time, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take these guys out, because I really don't think it needs any more in there. We've already replanted several into the back, so these guys are actually going to go into a different aquarium. So I thought I would just show you outside of the aquarium as well on where to trim stem plants, because it might be quite tricky to see it when I'm doing inside the aquarium. So imagine this is your substrate layer, and these are all your plants. Now I'm going to be trimming them off around here probably, and replanting them into the substrate. Now when you look at these guys, I think you can sort of see there, you've got the two main leaves just below my fingers here, and then you've got two little leaves poking out the sides, and the same with this one. So if I were to trim that off there, that little shoot there is going to take his place and regrow. And then what I can do is this little bit that I trim off, I can replant into the substrate and make a whole new plant. And you can do that with all of these. When you look at them, him there, he's got a little couple of little leaves coming out there, another little leaf coming out there. So as soon as I trim that off with my scissors, you'll find that he will reshoot, and that new shoot will take the place of the older one. And like I say, that's a whole brand new plant then you can plant into the substrate, and gives you a much bushier, nicer plant. So that gives you a good idea of stem plants and what to do and how to use them in your aquarium. In future episodes I'm going to try and cover epiphytes and swords and a few other of the different types of aquarium plants that you can use in your aquarium. So there you go, planting stems in your aquarium is as simple as that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you've enjoyed this video. This is my first one on planting and how to plant and sort of planting techniques. So if there's anything you'd like me to add into future videos, drop it in the comments below. Obviously remember to like, subscribe, I don't know, send a carrier pigeon to your friends to tell them about my YouTube channel. Whatever you need to do. It's been really enjoyable over the last few weeks talking to you all and getting ideas and getting sort of messages of encouragement, so I really appreciate that, and it's really good fun that you guys and girls are all enjoying my content. So as I said, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell icon, whatever else you need to do. Love to you all, have a good day. I'm going to go and open up the shop. Peace.